Hello everyone, welcome back to the Programming with ChatGPT series. This will be part one. I decided to pick a topic that is simple and at the same time that is applicable for a lot of people, which is submitting their timesheet. This is something that almost every employee does every week or every day, and particu- in particular, you would do almost the same thing every time unless you took the days off. So you would have some sort of a table. You would plug in your hours, like let's say 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 5 times with a total of 40 hours. And then you would click submit and you will go on with your life. So instead of wasting 5 to 10 minutes doing that every time, why don't we create a script that does that automatically, which would save your time? And this is part one of this series. So we are going to do this in two steps. One is to create the time sheet page using ChatGPT for two reasons. One, obviously, I'm not going to show you the timesheet of my own company. And second, to learn briefly how to tell ChatGPT to create a page for us for our website. But this would be a very simple example, like some sort of introduction per se. The second part would be to ask ChatGPT to create the script that will automatically submit the timesheet for the timesheet page that we created. With that being said, I'll go and jump right into it. So now I will go to the ChatGPT link. I will put this in the description. Everything will be in the description. You will go and click try ChatGPT. So I just clicked on the link. Now, if you are logging in for the first time, it will ask you to log in. I logged in using my Google account, but there are a lot of options. But once you are logged in, you will see this page where you will see a box that says send a message. And this is where we are going to interact with ChatGPT. So that's being said, let's do step number one, which is to tell ChatGPT to create the timesheet page for us. Now, one question that we can have in our mind, which is how to ask ChatGPT to do that. Do we need to use a specific language? Do we need to be cryptographic? And the answer is very simple. Just ask it in human language. And if you need more details on your page, you can provide those details as you ask ChatGPT to create that page for you. So I'm going to show you an example on how to do that. So I'm going to ask ChatGPT, can you create a timesheet where timesheet page where we can log in our hours and it has a submit button that displays your submission has been successful when clicked. So this is, as you can see in human language, I'm telling it to create a page and I'm providing the details that I need for my own YouTube tutorial, which is that I want to be able to log in my hours and I want it to have a button. And I'm telling ChatGPT exactly what I want that button to do, which is to display a text that says that the submission was successful. So I'm going to hit enter. And as you can see, first of all, the response is really fast and it provides you also with explanation and details of what it's going to do, and it provides you with the code which we are going to copy right now and test if it's going to do exactly what we asked it to do. So that being said, it also again provides a lot of examples. So if you are new into like front end, or if you are new onto the thing that you're asking ChatGPT about, as you can see, it provides explanation of that code as well, which is really, really nice. So that being said, I'll copy the code right now and I'll go to my desktop and I'll create the file. And this is an HTML file. Now you might be asking me, how do I know that? Because if you look back at what it said, it clearly said that this is an HTML page. So I'm saving the extension of the file with HTML. So that being said, let me minimize again. And actually, I want to rename this into something that's more meaningful. I'll just call it test for now, since this is a test page. And now let me just open this with Notepad++, and I'll just paste the code. I'll save it. And let's test the page out. Does it exactly do what I asked it to do? So I'm going to double click. And as you can see, it has the timesheet, it has the hours worked, and it has the submit button. So if I click submit, it obviously it will ask me to fill out the information. That's my name. Hours worked, I'm going to put 8 hours. I'm going to click submit. And as you can see, it provides the text message that we asked ChatGPT to display when we click that button. So this is a very simple timesheet which we can use for our tutorial. That being said, we performed step number one, which is creating the timesheet app. Step number two, to create the script that will automatically perform this for us. Now, there are a lot of ways to do that. I will show you one way, but you can be creative and do it in different ways. So there is something called Puppeteer, which is a tool that we can use. It will basically interact with the browser. It will open the Chrome browser and it will perform tasks automatically for us. So I'm going to ask ChatGPT to create a Puppeteer script that is actually going to fill out the information and then click the submit button. So let's go and jump in and ask it to do that. Can you create a Puppeteer script that will... Now, before I continue on asking it that request, we need also to understand that ChatGPT is a bot. Like, it would in normal circumstances, it doesn't have this HTML code. Usually, the timesheet for your app would be from the company. So ChatGPT obviously doesn't have access to that. So how can we tell ChatGPT to click the button that we have in mind? How can we tell ChatGPT to click this button right here? And the answer is you need to right click on the page and you would need to click inspect. Again, that's is slightly different between browsers. I'm using Firefox, but the differences is very minimal, and the way to do it is very similar to what I'm going to show right now. So I'm going to click inspect. So as you can see, when I dive in inside, this is the form ID. It's called a timesheet dash form. So note that down, and this is the button, right? So let me go back. Now I will intentionally make a mistake, but just for this tutorial. But I'm going to ask it the following question. Can you create a Puppeteer script that will click the submit button of the form with ID, and I'm going to provide it the ID, which is timesheet dash form, and that's it. Now, obviously, I should provide more details, but I'm trying to teach you how to adjust your questions as we go along. So I'm going to hit enter, and it provided the Puppeteer script to actually perform that. And what's very nice is that it actually tells you what you need to do to adjust that code. So first, it asks you to replace the URL. So it provided me with the wrong URL. I'm going to copy the code and then I will adjust it accordingly. But let's continue. We need to save the script in a JavaScript file, then run it using Node.js. And it keeps explaining the stuff. Now, in order to use Puppeteer, obviously you will need Node.js installed on your computer. I will provide the link in the description of where you can download Node.js. Now, that being said, I'm going to instantiate a new Node project. It's very, very simple. And then I will create the Puppeteer script. So in order to create the Node project, all you have to do is create a new folder. I will call it test-node for now. I will go inside. I will open in terminal, and you just need to run these two lines that says npm init, and you'll hit enter multiple times. And now you have the Node project created. Now all I have to do is to create the JavaScript file for the Puppeteer script and adjust it accordingly with my own needs. I'm going to right click, new, and then I'll change the extension from text to JavaScript. And I can name this anything I want, but I will just use the name that is provided by ChatGPT, which says this, which makes a lot of sense. So let me go back to the file that I was creating. Let me rename it. .js. I'll open this in Notepad++. Obviously, you can use any editor that you would like. And I will paste the code that ChatGPT has provided to me. Copy code. I'll go back in and I will paste it. Now, if I go back to my timesheet page, this is the URL. Now, of course, for your company, it will have a different URL. So you would place whatever URL that the timesheet is in, and I'm going to go here and adjust it accordingly. Now, obviously, there are a couple of other mistakes, but I'm going to execute the script first, and then we are going to fix stuff as we go along. I will save this. Now, in order to run any Node script, you just need to run Node followed by the file extension or the file name. So in that case, that would be timesheet underscore script.js. Okay, let's run this. And it says not found. Why is it not found? Let's go back and let's read. So it says then run it using Node.js. Navigate to the timesheet page, click the submit button with the success page. I am going to tell ChatGPT that I got some certain exception. And let's see if ChatGPT is going to figure this out. I tried to run the script, but I got the following error, and I will provide that error. Let's see what it's going to do. So now it's providing the steps on how to fix that error. First, step number one, make sure you have Node.js installed, and it provided the link where we need to install Node.js, which is what I said in the beginning. Open the terminal or the command prompt. I have that. Step number three, navigate to the directory where the Puppeteer script is installed. I am already in that folder. Step number four, run the following command to install the Puppeteer module. I didn't do that, and that was the exact problem. So let's copy the code and let's paste it in and let's hit enter. So now it's installing the Puppeteer module, which will fix one of the problems at least. So now that's installed, let's try to run the script again. So again, how to run the script? You type in node followed by the file name. Enter. Now you'll notice I'm getting some exception where that says promise rm is not a function. And also the second thing that I noticed, I'm not seeing the page, I'm not seeing the interaction that was going on in the browser. And the reason being, if you are not familiar with Puppeteer, is because Puppeteer by default, as you can see here in the warning, it sets the headless to true. Headless means you'll not be able to see the page. So in order to see this in action, especially that this is a tutorial, I want the headless property to be set to false. So I'm going to ask ChatGPT, can you adjust the Puppeteer scripts to set the headless to false? And one thing that I would recommend is to try to read the code again just to learn. Like you don't want to just blindly copy paste the code. It's really important to actually read the code and understand what it's actually doing. So if I scroll up, I'm trying to understand where that property was set to false. I'm looking, okay, so that's the line where the headless was set to false. So let's set that to false first, and let's try to understand what was going on when we try to submit that button. So this is the script. I'm just going to copy this line because all the other lines are actually exactly the same. And let's go back and let's try to run the script again. So now, as you can see, the page opened, something odd happened, and then it closed again. Why did the page close? Now, obviously, I can ask ChatGPT for that, or I can read the code. Now, we've been asking ChatGPT a lot, so what I want to do, just for our practice, let's try to read the code and figure out why the page was closed immediately. So I'm reading here, okay, we're instantiating a browser. We're trying to go to this page. It tries to go to this button. It clicks that button. It even provides comments, which is very nice. And then it's waiting for the success message assuming it appears dynamically, etc. And then at the end, it says close the browser. Now, for our use case, since this is a tutorial and I want to show you the final result, I don't want to close the browser immediately, so I'll just go ahead and comment this line out. Or if I ask ChatGPT to comment this line out, I can do that as well. So now I'm going to save this and let's try to run this again. So now, did you notice what happened? It tried to click the submit button, but it couldn't. Actually, I'll show you right now. If I click submit, we need to fill out both of those information. So how can we tell ChatGPT to fill out that information? The same way that we did when we tried to ask it to click the submit button. I'll right click, I'll click inspect, and I'll try to search for the field for the name and for the hours worked. So let me scroll down. And by the way, just FYI, I practiced on this timesheet page multiple times, and it doesn't give you the same timesheet page every day. So this is actually live, but the way to do it is actually the same. So when you perform this tutorial, it doesn't have to provide this exact page. So just pointing that out. So let's continue. So this is the field, and this is the type text, and the ID is name. So let's go ahead. Wait, let me just copy this one. I'll just copy this one. I'll just paste it to somewhere. I'll delete this later, and I'll go ahead and scroll down. And this is the input for the hours worked. I'll just copy this one temporarily. So now I will ask ChatGPT, can you adjust the Puppeteer script to fill the name which is under, and if I go back, under inputs type equals text with ID name, fill the name, to fill, let's say to fill my name, Mustafa, which is under this type with this under which is under this ID, and also fill the hours as 8 under input type equals number with ID, and I'll provide the ID which is hours before submitting before clicking the submit button. Okay, now we provide some explanation on how we performed all of that. I'll just scroll up while it's explaining a lot of stuff. Of course, I already know this, I already changed the URL, etc. So let me go top. I'll just copy these lines, probably up to here, and just change the script accordingly. I think this should be correct. Okay, yeah, this seems correct. So I will save this, and now I will close this page, and let's try to run the script again. Unexpected token. And the reason being is because I added these two lines, which I said I will remove later, and I forgot to do that. I will save. Let's try to run the script again. And as you can see, it fill out my name, it fill out the hours worked, and it clicked the submit button. And I know that works because it displayed this message. So hopefully, I hope that you learned a couple of stuff with ChatGPT, how to open the ChatGPT, how to ask it questions, how to correct your errors, and how to do all of that. I hope you enjoyed this, and see you on the next Sunday. Thank you, and have a nice day. Bye bye.